Hi everybody, welcome to week 3. I'm here to explain to you how the DBL assessment is going to work over the next couple of weeks. So in the slides you'll see that there is a copy of the assessment brief, which has also been uploaded as a PDF to Google Classroom, sorry. So you'll be able to read through that. It's advisable that you read through that first before you listen to this video, as hopefully this will answer any of your questions. And if you have any extra questions, just bring them to your Google Meet with myself or Anna and Carla this week. So let's get started. I'll just share my screen with you. Okay, so I'm going to be going through the slides with you just to explain it all a little bit more so that you have an understanding of what we mean at each stage. Now you'll notice that this assessment is going from week 3 until week 5, and there is a suggested timeline for how to complete this assessment task, and I stress that it is just suggested. You can do it however you want, but let's keep going. You'll see throughout this slideshow on certain slides that there is a picture of this camera. That means we'd like you to take a photo of your work and send it through to us as part of our collecting samples of your work, and we're keeping a file of these of our own, so that would be really good if you could get a photo and get mum or dad to send it to us. Okay, our learning intention for this assessment is I can create a community to demonstrate my learning of important people, places, and support services. I will be successful if I can plan the community using the curious and creative dispositions. Draw a draft of my community, which hopefully if you were following the DBL slides last week, lesson 3 was actually to draw your own community, your own unique community with all the people, places, support services in it that you would like if you were creating your own community. So that task could double as a draft for this assessment. So if you've already done that, well done. You're almost one step ahead. We'll keep going. Include a variety of the important components, people, places, support services that make a community. So because this is an assessment, we will be looking to see what you remember about the people, places and support services that we've learned about in our Murder community, and hopefully you'll include a fair few of those in your community that you are drafting up. I'll be successful if I can construct a 2D or 3D representation of my community. Now that is the creating part, so we'll get into that as we go through the slides. I'll explain a bit more. And then in week 5, you'll be doing a presentation using Google Meet with your teacher and a couple of your classmates. And the last 2 success criteria here will meet that. You are to articulate how you used your creative thinking to solve problems. So any problems you had that came up when you were trying to build your community, how did you solve those? What did you do to fix whatever it was that was troubling you? How you got out of the learning pit. And finally, present your community to a group of people. Okay, so as I said, this is a screenshot of the assessment brief. This is uploaded as a PDF into the Google Classroom, so you can have a read through that. The following slides that we're going to be going through are following the suggested timeline that you'll see on the second page there. And it's giving you, the slides will be giving you kind of examples of what you can do at each stage to meet the success criteria, and I'll be giving you variations of what you can do to make it simpler or more complex, however you want to do it, whatever you've got available for you. And we'll talk more about this in the Google Meet as well if you have any further questions. Okay, So for this week, it's suggested that you have 2 sessions. Normally, I know last week and the week before we've had 3 DBL sessions, but this week there's only 2, as they might take you a little bit longer just because there's a lot of looking and finding and sourcing. So for the first lesson, you are going to draw what you imagine your community will look like. And as I said, you may have started this last week as part of DBL Lesson 3, or you might have already decided, yep, I did a really good job of that, so I'm going to use that as my plan. There's an example on the screen there and a video of a plan coming together. Remember, it is just a plan. So if you find that you don't have the time to colour it in, you don't have to colour it in. Remember, we always talk about how a plan is just getting your ideas down. It doesn't have to be perfect. So it's up to you. I actually had a bit of fun colouring in mine, so I chose to colour it. That might be something that you do after you finished all your learning for the day. If you're like, do you know what, I really want to colour in my community, and you can go ahead and do that. That's up to you. You can give your community a name. So I know we've had an example already of someone who's built something, I think it was called Ninja Village, which was really cool. So you could come up with anything. It could be something like Happy Town or Crazyville, Smilesville, whatever you want to call it. You can give your community a unique name. But you do need to make sure that you are labeling the people, places, support services, and the transport if you're putting that in there as well. Once you've done your plan, you can see at the bottom of this slide there's a camera, so you can take a photo and send it to your LA. For lesson 2 this week, we want you to make a list of things that you might need for your community. So we're working through this step by step. So you can gather the materials too that you need and keep them in a safe place until you're ready to create. You can see that I've put all my materials into a tub, which I kept in my room, just safely away so no pets got into it and made a mess, or no little brothers or sisters or anything like that. So it's all there ready for me to go when I want to create. I might decide to start creating this week if I get a bit of spare time, but at least I know that next week it's all there for me, ready to go when I want to use it. And all the materials in there, I got ideas for them when looking at my plan. So I looked at my plan to see what I needed, and then what I needed to make, and figured out a way to make them. Okay, week 4, lesson 1. So this is where you will begin to start making your creation. So you might build all the little bits and pieces that you need. You can use cardboard boxes, you can use just pieces of cardboard that you've drawn on. You can even just use paper. You can just draw it on paper and cut it out. But you'll see down the bottom, in the bottom corner there, the hospital. I drew that, but I made sure that because this is now going to be a good copy and an assessment, I made sure that it was high quality drawing. I took my time. I used grey lead first. I did neat colouring. And then when I cut it out really, really carefully. I also made sure that I put all the labels on the pieces of my community. So you can see there's some examples there. For my cardboard police officer, I just wrote his label at the top and then made sure when I cut it all out, I included that. For the church, I've written church on the front of the box, but I've also added a label at the top using a toothpick, a blue tack, and just a piece of paper sticky tape to it. And for my supermarket, Aldi, I have just put a post-it note on the top as well, so you can do that as well, however you want to do it. Please know that we don't want you to go over the top, getting all worried that you need to make it 3D. Your community does not need to be 3D. If you are having trouble finding the materials that you need, or if you just don't have the time to make it 3D, that's fine. You can do it on paper, that's okay. You can draw and cut things out, just like my hospital there. You can, if you've got coloured paper, you can use coloured paper to make your buildings and just stick them down, make the roads, stick them down. It can just be a cut and paste and drawing activity if that's easier for you. We don't want anyone to feel stressed out about this assessment or this project, thinking that they need to make 3D models and spending hours and hours on it. This is designed to be done by the children, but if you could help them out, that's obviously great. But we do want it to be something that they could possibly do on their own mostly, with just a few clarifying questions being asked from their parents or guardians. Just try and use whatever materials you have at home. You don't running out and going out and shops to buy heaps of stuff if they haven't got the time or haven't got the resources to do that. That's fine. We want it to be as easy as possible. We are leaving this really open, so if you can do it however you like. So if you find it easy to do it on paper, do it on paper. If you can make a 3D model, make a 3D model. If you want to use Lego blocks to make it and include your toys, you can do that as well. There is no limit to how you could do this. So we just want you to get creative, and we want it to be as stress-free as possible. So please, please, please remember that. Don't feel pressure to do anything. I can't say it enough. Just do what you can. We know it's a really tough time, but again, just do what you can. That's all I can say, really. So just keep that in mind. There's examples on the slides for what you can do, but you don't have to do it that way. You can do it however you want. If you want some clarity about how to do it, you can email your child's LA and they will say whether the idea that you have is all right or whether it's not. And I'm sure none of us will say that it's not. We'll just say everything is whatever you can do. So it's fine. On the next slide for the next lesson, this one, this is where you will bring it all together. So you'll arrange the pieces that you made and put them where you would like them. You can use a shoebox, a cardboard box, just a flat piece of cardboard, a flat piece of paper, whatever it is you want to use, you can use it however you're deciding to do it. It's up to you. But this is where you'll put all the bits and pieces together and take some photos so that we can see them. As you can see, the camera is on the slide there. Oh, excuse me. So we just want you and the kids to have fun, doing their best, being proud of what they've done. This is a celebration of all of their learning they've done over the last term and a bit. So really, really just do your best, whatever you can do. On the next slide too, this is just an example. It's a really large scale example, but it obviously doesn't have to be that big. But this is just what it could look like if you were using coloured paper to collage. And it's not 3D, it's 2D, but you can still see that it can look really creative and really effective as well. We've also got on this slide, you can click the photo down the bottom here, and Luke from Anna's home group was extending himself and challenging himself last week, and instead of just drawing his community, he decided to make it already. So there's an example there if you want to get some ideas. There's something there for you to look at. So if you click that photo, it goes into a bit of a video. So thanks, Luke, for sending that through. It's excellent. I was really, really proud when I watched that. So I'm hoping we get some other people feeling inspired by you. So good job, Luke.